My name is Liam. I'm 10 years old now, but I want to tell you about when I was smaller, when things were harder and life felt heavy. My mother was always there, but not in a happy, smiling way. She was tired, very tired. I remember the lines on her face and the quiet way she moved around the house like she was carrying a heavy load nobody else could see. Our home was small and sometimes cold. We didn't have many toys or nice clothes. Sometimes I saw my mother sit down for a moment, close her eyes, and take a deep breath like she was holding in a secret pain. I didn't understand then, but I felt it, that feeling of worry and sadness in the air. My father was not always with us. Sometimes he left for days or weeks. When he was home, he often argued with my mother. The loud voices scared me. I wanted to cover my ears and disappear. But my mother stayed. She did not cry or yell back. Instead, she cleaned up the mess, made sure I ate, and told me everything would be okay, even when I didn't believe her. I remember one night when I was very small, I woke up to the sound of voices again. My mother was crying softly in the kitchen. I went to her and hugged her tight. She didn't push me away. She held me close and whispered, "I'm here. I will keep you safe." That night, I learned that even when she was sad, she was strong for me. Looking back, I see now that my mother's strength was not in big, loud actions. It was in the small things, waking up early to cook, working long hours, and never letting us go hungry. She carried our family on her tired shoulders. And even though she was tired, she never gave up. I was just a child. I did not know much, but I felt safe because my mother was there. She was the quiet hero of our small world. I did not understand all the sacrifices she made, but I felt the love hidden in her tired eyes. That love was my first lesson in what true strength means. When I was a little older, I began to see more clearly how hard my mother worked every day. It was not just the cooking and cleaning. She worked outside the home too to help pay the bills. Sometimes she came back late at night, her feet sore and her hands rough. But she never complained in front of me. She kept a brave face even when I knew she was hurting inside. There were many days when money was very tight. We often had to choose between food or other things we needed. I remember one time when my shoes broke and I had to wear old, too small shoes to school. My mother didn't say much about it. She just smiled and told me I was lucky to have a warm bed. That made me feel bad, but I understood she was trying to teach me to be strong. Our neighbors sometimes asked how we managed. My mother always said, "We take one day at a time." That phrase stayed with me. It means to keep going even when things seem impossible. I watched her do this again and again. No matter what happened, she woke up the next day and did her best for us. There were times when my mother looked very tired. Her back would hurt from carrying heavy bags, and her eyes looked like they had not seen a good night's sleep in a long time. I wanted to help, but I was just a child. So instead, I tried to be quiet and do what she asked. I would clean my small room or help set the table, hoping to give her even a little rest. Sometimes she would tell me stories about when she was young, stories that showed how strong her own mother was. She said that strength is not about never being afraid or never crying. It is about doing what you must, even when your heart feels heavy. I did not always understand this, but I felt it deep inside. In our house, there was not much talking about feelings, but my mother's eyes spoke louder than words. They told me she was fighting battles I could not see, battles for food, for safety for us. And even though she was tired, she never let those battles win. She was like a quiet warrior. She did not wear armor or carry a sword, but her love was her strength. It was the power that held us together. Watching her taught me that real strength comes in many forms, sometimes in silence, sometimes in sacrifice, but always in love. As I grew older, I started to see more of my mother's feelings. Sometimes late at night, when the house was quiet, I heard her crying softly in her room. At first, I thought strong people don't cry. I was wrong. My mother taught me something important, that crying does not mean you are weak. One day I asked her, "Why do you cry when you're strong?" She looked at me with tired but kind eyes and said, "Crying is like a rainstorm. It helps clean the sadness inside. But after the rain, the sun comes out and you feel better. That is strength too." I remember another time when I fell down while learning to ride my bike. I scraped my knee badly and wanted to give up. My mother held my hand and said, "It's okay to cry, but when you're ready, try again. Every time you get up, you grow stronger." Her words stayed with me. I realized strength is not about never falling or never feeling pain. It is about trying again after you fall. It is about being brave enough to show your feelings and still keep going. At school, I sometimes saw other children making fun of me because my clothes were old or my shoes were worn out. That hurt. But I remembered my mother's quiet strength and her tears that made her strong. I understood that everyone has their own battles, and being strong means being kind to yourself. My mother's tears were not signs of weakness, but of deep love and hope. She cried because she cared so much. She cried because she wanted a better life for me, and those tears gave her the power to keep going. I learned from her that it's okay to feel sad, scared, or tired. What matters is what you do after those feelings. My mother showed me how to face hard days with courage. She showed me that true strength comes from the heart, not from hiding your feelings. Sometimes I still think about those quiet moments when she cried alone. They remind me that being human means feeling many things: sadness and joy, fear and hope. And that strength is not the absence of tears, but the courage to rise again after every fall. As I grew taller and stronger, I watched my mother in a new way. She did not always look like a hero to others. She was not loud or proud, but to me, she was the strongest person in the world. Sometimes she would fall down, she would get sick, or feel too tired to move. But no matter how hard things were, she always got back up. One time she caught a cold and was very weak. She stayed in bed for 2 days, but still she made sure I had breakfast and my clothes were clean. I remember how she smiled when she felt better. That smile was like sunshine after a long rain. It told me she was ready to fight again, to carry our family on her shoulders, even when they were heavy with worry. I saw how she never gave up, even when people said things were impossible. She faced every problem with quiet courage. Even when my father left us for a while, she stood tall and kept going. Her strength was not about never falling down. It was about getting up every time life pushed her down. She taught me that falling is part of life, but staying down is a choice. Watching her rise again and again made me want to be strong too. I learned to be brave when things were hard. I learned to help her when I could, and to believe that we could get through anything together. She showed me that strength is like a flame inside us. Sometimes the wind blows hard and tries to put it out, but if you hold the flame close, it keeps burning. That flame is hope, love, and courage. My mother's flame never went out. It kept shining in the darkest times, and because of her, I learned to keep my own flame alive. Now I know strength is not about being perfect or never feeling weak. It is about rising again with hope and love, no matter how many times you fall. Now I am 10 years old and I understand many things I didn't before. My mother taught me what true strength really means, not the kind of strength that comes from being loud or never crying, but the strength that comes from love, hope, and never giving up. I learned that everyone has value and meaning in life. You don't need to do big things or be perfect to be important. Even small acts like waking up every day and trying your best are powerful. My mother's small acts of kindness and sacrifice showed me this truth every day. When I look at her now, I see a woman who carried our family on her tired shoulders, who fought silent battles and never gave up. She is my hero, not because she never fell, but because she rose again and again. If you listen to this story, I hope you will remember that you are important, just as you are. You have your own strength inside you, even if it feels small right now. Life will be hard sometimes, but you can keep going. You can rise after every fall. Thank you for listening to my story about my mother, the woman who taught me what true strength means. Please like and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Remember, your story matters and you are never alone.